was the experiment before you went on holiday with Joe?
It was like 2 days.
48 hours, you move quick, don't you?
Have you slept with Joe?
Yeah.
And now you're after Stephen as well?
Stephen on a date.
And you've asked Stephen, are you all right?
I don't know how I feel about this whole Julia Ruth situation. Julia Ruth is wrong for what she did. But do I think Maeve is a victim? No. Maeve is not a victim because her relationship with Joe was over. Because of the way she speaks. We all saw it when she was going after Julia Ruth. And I have a feeling that's how she went after Joe. And that put him off. Yes, he is wrong for how he treated her as well. They are both responsible for how their marriage failed. So that's nothing new. Yes, Nelly is a victim of the Stephen situation to some extent, but I'm happy with how she handled the situation. She didn't go all in on Julia Ruth. She was able to sort of recognize that Stephen really wasn't her man, and so I love how she handled that. Stephen is messy. Stephen is messy. I think Stephen, the problem with Stephen is he's not a good liar, and so because he knows he's not a good liar, this is why he always shuts up, and instead of sort of incriminating himself further, Julia Ruth is responsible for what she did. She is responsible. And sadly for her, in her quest for clout, she's even made herself the villain and taken attention away from people who were very messy during this experiment. People like Anita, people like Sarah. She's made them look like choir girls as compared to everything else that she's done. And there's no way you can defend her. Kia's right that there's no way you can defend what she's done. Anyway, hey there. Thanks for stopping by to Go Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Click the like button. Turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos. And definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK, Season 10, Episode 31. We're still trying to catch up, but we will catch up hopefully soon. Anyway, so you have the couples back from their, last dates. They're all very happy. They're reflecting on their dates. Abigail and, John are always going to be in a happy mood, just like David and Kia, because they're talking about their otter. Bailey and Rebecca, it seems their storyline for now is going to be about this distance thing. And it's like, we've heard enough about it. We need to keep it stepping. Leisha and Rhys seem to be the toxic couple left in the experiment, as far as I'm concerned, because they keep having this back and forth about their communication styles and about where their feelings are. This is nothing new to anyone who's watched from episode 1. Rhys has always stated that he moves slower than the way that Leisha moves. And sadly for Leisha, she is giving him PTSD from his previous relationships because he said he doesn't like toxicity, he doesn't like the drama. And this is who, if you look up drama, you'll find Alicia's face next to it. I think had he been matched with someone like Abigail or someone more laid back like a Nelly, he might have really given it a shot. But because he's in a situation with someone who is very dramatic, this is why they have this constant back and forth, and I don't know how they could ever sort of make it work. You have Leisha saying, she regrets telling Rhys that she loves him, and it's like, well, it's a bit too late. You can't sort of, cry over spilled milk. You then have, Leah and Leah, they're excited. They're just talking about their date and where they are and the fact that they've actually made it to the very end. The couples receive a golden envelope letting them know that they will be going to a brunch where they will meet some of the previous participants, and everyone is excited to get there. Obviously, you have the girls go on their own and the guys go on their own. David goes with the guys and Leah, and then Lee and Kia go with the girls. And it's like, oh, it's about to be messy. It's about to be messy. So everyone was there. They were excited to be on this date. And so everyone discusses the state of their relationship. You have Rhys say, he's struggling in his marriage. He's struggling to cope with the arguments. Yes, Leisha's told him she loves him, but he didn't say it back because he didn't want to lie to her. And he is sort of it seems every time they have a clash, she's sort of taking a couple of steps back. And she is recognizing that he is doing that because Leisha's telling the girls that she told him she loves him, and she's concerned that maybe she shouldn't have told him she loves him because, she wants more reassurance. And it seems every time they have a clash, they take a couple of steps back. The girls try to tell her that maybe it's worth you sort of being your authentic self and not sort of restraining yourself because you're worried that every time you say something, he is going to pull back. And it's like, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how much more they as a couple can continue to work or do in order for them to progress. You have Abby and John. They're excited. They tell everyone that they went on their date to a palace, and everybody knows and recognizes that this is a true love story in the sense that these two people really like one another. It seems they met each other at the right point in their lives where they were ready to open up and sort of explore a romantic connection with someone. So this is something they were excited about, and they're happy to be there. You have Rebecca sort of telling the girls that she and Bailey had a great date, but sadly, most of it was filled with tears because they're worried about the distance and how they're going to sort of manage that once the experiment ends. Because at the moment they're living together, but because they live miles apart, how will they still be able to maintain their connection? And it's like, well, it is what it is. Sarah then walks in, and Dean also walks in, and they are asked by the group that do you still keep in contact. They both agree that yes, they keep in contact. They speak every day. Dean reveals that he's going to play golf. I think he said with Sarah's dad, and they'll see how things work out from there. Do I think so? No, I don't think so. I think Sarah never liked Dean, and so sadly Dean is still in La La Land and still thinks that there is hope for their relationship, which I don't see. And then you have Sarah sort of bring up the Julia Ruth situation. That does anyone know what's been going on with Julia Ruth? There's been drama around Julia Ruth and Nelly, and there might be a clash if they both come up. And Julia Ruth makes this appearance. For her, this is a moment to get fame. For her to at this moment, this is her moment to break out and be a breakout star because of the way she was using her head, the way she was strutting as she walked in. And it's like, the outfit is not giving, the shoes are not giving, in my opinion. So whatever impression she was hoping for, it didn't land, because when Sarah came in, everyone was excited to see her. They all stood up and ran. When Julia Ruth came in, the only person who stood up and ran towards her was Leisha, because Leisha and Abby barely know her, so they don't know the drama and the toxicity that she's brought into the group. Anyway, it's then revealed that Julia Ruth has been texting another husband, and she says she's been having conversations with Stephen. The girls ask her, has it been romantic? And she sort of dances around. Well, yes, he was viewing my stories, and then and then we started chatting, and everyone questioned, who sent the first DM? It turns out Julia Ruth sent the first DM. Julia Ruth has a type, but she didn't reveal her type when she was cast. Because if she was matched with Divarni, and yet she's been pursuing Joe and Stephen, that tells you that Joe and Stephen are more her type than Divarni. But she wanted to sort of play this persona for her. It was never about marriage. It was about her getting as much clout as she can. And so you have Stephen arrive to the guys because initially Leah received a call from Lee, and Lee was telling her that, oh, Julia Ruth is telling us all that, she's been chatting to Stephen, they've been DMing each other, and they've arranged a date. Leah then ran and told the guys, and all the guys were taken aback because nobody could believe that Stephen would be this ignorant to sort of do something like that. He knows how his wife felt about the whole Julia Ruth situation, so the idea that he would then go and pursue a conversation with her doesn't make sense. The snide comments being made in the peanut gallery by Kia just took me out. Kia was just speaking his mind, and David as well was speaking his mind. So when Stephen came, the guys, they then sort of cornered him and asked him, what's going on with Julia Ruth? She's been telling the girls that you and her have been flirting, you've been chatting, and you've arranged a date. And Stephen denied it. And I don't know whether it's because maybe he should have had a conversation with Julia Ruth before he walked in. Or maybe Julia Ruth had promised that they wouldn't discuss it. But knowing Julia Ruth, you don't need a soothsayer to tell you that she was going to reveal it. At the end of the day, she was always going to reveal what was said and what was done. So the idea that he is surprised doesn't make sense. So you then had Divarni walk in with Leo, and David is messy because he then asked Stephen, do you want to tell Divarni what's been going on with you and Julia Ruth? And it's like, oh my God, why? This is about to be a hot mess express. Because you had Stephen still trying to sort of deny what was happening, and his facial expressions, you could tell he was afraid of Divarni, or whether he was embarrassed. Something was going on with him. You could see that he was very emotional, but he was trying to sort of put on a brave front. Divarni said, it is what it is. We barely chat, and I know the woman that she is. Bailey must have been a proud dad moment, because as soon as Divarni walked in, the way he ran and he hugged him, and you can see that they're very close friends. So for him, I think realizing that Divarni is moving on and whatever hold Julia Ruth has on him has since sort of evaporated was amazing. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't see the appeal on the guy's side. Julia Ruth is doing this for clout. The guys, I don't know why they were so impressed enough to sort of want to pursue that with her. April and Anita came in. There really wasn't much to their story, because at the end of the day, their marriages failed. Anita came in with a template of what she wanted. She didn't get it, and that's it. April also had ideas of what she wanted. She didn't get it, and that was it. That's fine. Sarah then reveals that Maeve told her something, and it's like it's about to be messy. It's about to be messy. Maeve walked in, people were excited to see her, and you could see Julia Ruth was taken aback. She was a bit nervous. Kia was excited because I think he had a very close relationship with Maeve. It then comes out, well, Maeve was straight in Julia Ruth's face, because she asked her, okay, what's been going on between you and Joe? Do you want to tell the class, or do you want me to tell the class? And it's like, oh my God, why would we do this? And so it's really sad. Yes, Joe is responsible for what he did, but Julia Ruth, had she come and said she had only pursued one husband, that would sort of, people would say, oh, maybe it's a mistake. She didn't know what she was doing. But for her to reveal that she actually went on a trip with Joe to Lanzarote, of all places, Lanzarote. I've never been. Maybe I might visit one day. So they went to Lanzarote. Everybody wanted to know, were you physically intimate? She said yes. And it's like, this is really sad. This is really sad. Julia Ruth is a little confused little girl. She doesn't know what she's doing. Because the idea that she's left the experiment 2 days later, she's pursuing a connection with someone and going on a date, tells me that they already were exploring something in the experiment. It's not like 2 days out, they just said, okay, yes, you can book a trip within a couple of hours, but it's not like they just left the experiment 2 days later, they're going on a trip. I have a feeling they must have been exploring something. They went on this date with Joe, they went on this trip with Joe, and things didn't work out, and so Joe decided to shut it down, or he must have suspected that she was just using him for clout, and he decided to shut it down. For Joe to be said that he was now trying to explore something with Maeve and go and visit Maeve, I don't know. I really don't know what happened there. And sadly, Maeve, in my opinion, revealed what must have happened during their arguments with Joe, what might have put him off. The way she was very confrontational and in your face with Julia Ruth, I didn't like it personally. I thought it was a bit too much. I think she did way too much for a man who didn't show her as much care, affection, and attention. Yes, he said he loved her, but that could have been him playing her. So the idea that she was going to war like that didn't make sense. Sarah's face said it all. Sarah and Abigail. The embarrassment on everybody's face when Julia Ruth revealed that she had slept with Joe. Oh my God, I couldn't help myself. I was just hysterical. Nelly then arrived. Everyone was excited to see her. You had Rebecca run and sort of prepare Nelly to say, you have to be prepared because this is worse than what you thought it was. This is going to be messy and you need to prepare yourself. So it's then revealed that Julia Ruth was exploring or went on a holiday with Joe. She had sex with Joe. And after that, it's revealed that Julia Ruth also is exploring Stephen. And Nelly, I am happy that she handled herself the way she did, because at the end of the day, had she gone to the gutter with Julia Ruth, it would have just been messy. It's better, someone like Maeve who likes to go to the gutter does it. I think it was better and on brand for Nelly to handle the situation the way she did. She told her, good for you. If that's what you want, that's it. And all the girls are right to say Julia Ruth is not a girl's girl, because she saw how these guys treated the girls, and for her to think they would treat her any better doesn't make sense. For her to start saying to Maeve, oh, Maeve, it's not just you, he treated me just as badly. What did you expect, Sherlock Holmes? What did you expect? What did you expect? Did you expect him to be nicer to you after he treated somebody else terribly? He used his granddad's passing as an excuse to sort of get away with a lot of things, in my opinion, but I might be biased. The couples then receive an envelope and they're asked a question. For those who remain in the experiment, what would you like to change in your marriages? Leah said it shouldn't be this hard. In the real world, she wouldn't have put up with as much as she's put up with Lee, but she's done that because she really wanted this relationship to work, and so she doesn't know whether this relationship is for her. I agree with her. If they've been in the experiment for 5, 6 weeks and there's still no physical intimacy, maybe they're not each other's person. Maybe they're just there for clout, or maybe they're just there to fit a court, and that's it. Lee, on her part, is saying that, I wish things had been different. I wish it hadn't been so much work. And I think Lee came in with an idea of what she wanted. I don't think marriage was it. I think she was looking for, a clout or an opportunity, and she found that, and that's what she ran with. And the relationship was the last thing on her mind, from what I've seen. That's just my opinion. Rebecca says, her problem is the fact that there is this distance between her and Bailey. And at the end of the day, she is the one who's going to have to move because Bailey can't move. And she has her home, she has her business. And so she doesn't know whether this is going to be the end of the road for them or whether she's going to move and be with Bailey. I didn't quite see their relationship throughout the experiment, so it's a bit difficult for me to say whether they're an ideal match or not. I know we didn't get to see as much of Abigail and John, but they seem more in love and sort of aligned than I would say Rebecca and Bailey, who've been there from the start. And Leisha, on her part, says, she wants Rhys to be more open. And, the problem is, he says he doesn't like the drama. And she's worried that if she continues to be dramatic, he's going to leave her. I'll encourage her that you can't change yourself. Be your authentic self. Don't worry about the fact that he doesn't like drama. If he's not your person, he's not your person. That's okay. Rhys was saying, he sees potential in himself falling in love with Leisha because the guys were asking him, but it's just a matter of seeing whether he can continue to put up with the drama. I don't know. I think Rhys and Leisha give me Jordan and what's her name from last season? I can't remember her name at all. So I can't wait to see who says yes on Final Vows and what happens at the last dinner party. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 30. Bye everyone.